And I grew up on Richard Pryor. You can't even go back and talk about the book he wrote.
Yeah.
You know, and then what I got to do sometimes is explain, which I hate in big arenas, that this is a thought police thing and I do not like it. But when I use these words, this is my intent behind those words.
Yeah. Wow.
So as long as you understand my intent, I still get people, well, just don't say it. And I said, I'm not going to.
Tim Allen, the man behind Buzz Lightyear, Tim Taylor, and some of the sharpest comedy in Hollywood, isn't exactly known for playing nice with today's PC police. Over his decades-long career, Allen has managed to stand his ground in an industry that isn't always a fan of his unfiltered style. And while Hollywood tries to lean woke, Tim's got no problem saying what he really thinks, with his trademark humor and a big dose of eye roll at today's cancel-happy culture. So, if you're up for a refreshing take and a good laugh, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Allen dives right in, talking about how the PC culture is so intense, even his classic routines would probably get him canceled. Here's how he calls it out: no holds barred.
And I grew up on Richard Pryor. You can't even go back and talk about the book he wrote.
Yeah.
You know, and then what I got to do sometimes is explain, which I hate in big arenas, that this is a thought police thing and I do not like it. But when I use these words, this is my intent behind those words.
Yeah. Wow.
So as long as you understand my intent, I still get people, well, just don't say it. And I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but they take it out of context and put it on Twitter or put it on Facebook.
I'm surprised they haven't. I'm surprised they haven't, because I do use some provocative words, but I tell them it's words that really got from my parents.
Yeah.
You know, they said this stuff, and we talked about it. I can't even say it here. I can't even point to it.
Yeah.
It is an alarming thing for comedians, but my act has really been about family and kids and growing up anyway. But I was going to say, if I do some stuff. The women in my life were, whatever political party it was, always they hated the government and who's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
They always argued about that over vodka and cigarettes. Who's going to pay for it? I don't know, the government and all this. And if I bring up that whole story about my grandma once, because I stole money from my parents, I never worked, and my one grandma says, I think we got ourselves a little Democrat down there. And I do that in Miami. People laugh and cheer. You do it in Reading, Pennsylvania? Oh, hey, oh.
Why Reading?
Well, it's a little bit more democratic.
Oh, so they don't like it.
They didn't like that, and I do the city. So when I do the political stuff, it's a little bit more, and I don't really do political stuff. It's more of a perspective.
Yeah. Right.
But I said words do matter, but I said Lenny said they didn't, and it was 61.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, even if you go watch the movie Blazing Saddles.
Oh my God, forget it.
You can't even watch that without looking around in your own room.
Tim Allen doesn't just do jokes, he makes points that hit hard. Reflecting on the influence of comedy legends like Lenny Bruce and Richard Pryor, Tim remembers a time when comedy had no limits, a time when it was okay to push boundaries and provoke real thought. I refuse to do that, he says, disappointed with the way free expression has been squeezed out of modern comedy. For him, humor is supposed to spark reflection and maybe even shake things up, not just play it safe. In a bold moment, he even compares today's pressure to conform to the oppressive atmosphere of 1930s Germany. It's a heavy analogy, but his message is clear. Allen's not backing down. For Tim, the essence of comedy means standing up for free speech, no matter how many try to twist his words or shut him down. He's here to remind us that true comedy isn't afraid to go to places others avoid.
You went to the presidential inauguration, right?
I was invited by, we did a VIP thing for the vets and went to the Veterans Ball, and so I went to go see Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, I went to the inauguration.
I'm not attacking you.
You get in this town. I'm not kidding. You got to be real careful around here. You know, you get beat up. If you don't believe what everybody believes, this is like 30s Germany. I don't know what happened. If you're not part of the group, you know what we believe is right. I go, well, I might have a problem with that. I'm a comedian. I like going on both sides.
When Tim Allen recalls attending a presidential inauguration, he's not waving any party flags. He's spotlighting the intense climate of fear around expressing any view that doesn't fit neatly into the mainstream. Just showing up somewhere can now trigger backlash, and for Tim, that's a major red flag. He makes a sharp comparison to darker historical times when simply disagreeing was downright dangerous. For Allen, freedom is all about being able to show up, speak up, and engage without constantly looking over your shoulder. That's the piece he believes we're letting slip away in today's culture.
A lot of naked, a lot of nude. I'm going that way. I'm going to identify as a woman. We're going to be very politically correct. I'm going to identify as an Asian woman that wants to be a European man. So it's kind of I stay where I am. But in my head,
we'll do the journey of what it's like to be an Asian woman in a European man's body. It's just I eat a lot of ramen. It'll be a lot of Asian dishes.
Allen uses humor to spotlight just how wild today's identity politics have become. When The Last Man Standing got canceled, he joked about identifying as various personas just to stay relevant. Behind the sarcasm, though, he's zeroing in on a bigger issue: the relentless push to fit everyone into tidy little boxes. For Allen, comedy isn't about following rules or meeting expectations. It's a space where everything and everyone is fair game. In his eyes, humor should challenge, provoke, and maybe even ruffle a few feathers along the way.
I don't want to be PC. I don't have it. For all of us in the stand-up world, all of us are seeing this and feeling this, and it's a little dangerous and uncomfortable that there is things you can't say because they might hurt people's feelings. And my mother told me a long time ago, and it was from a Baptist church, I think somewhere in the South, a preacher said to his flock, and my mom repeated, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never break them." And my mom said that I went to school, was bullied. She goes, words mean nothing. It's the intent behind the word. Lenny Bruce said it. Comics play with it all the time. We joke around about words. Words don't mean anything. And all of a sudden now into the world says words matter. And in my gut, words don't matter. The intent behind the word matters. I'm a wordsmith. We play with words all the time. But it's the intent and what people do with their lives. But words, man, we get into a weird thing when I can't say stuff because you don't like what that means. Well, that meaning it, I didn't mean that by that.
When it comes to politics, Allen's stance is refreshingly straightforward. He values independence and isn't here to play by anyone else's rules. Allen is uncomfortable with the idea that people should be defined just by their vote or any label society slaps on them. For him, identity is far richer and more complex than simply fitting into neat political categories. Allen finds it frustrating that society often reduces people to party lines or voting records, when what truly matters are character, integrity, and individuality. To him, people should be recognized for their unique qualities, experiences, and contributions, not boxed in by labels or affiliations. Allen's message? Individuality should be celebrated, and everyone should feel free to hold their own perspectives without fear of judgment.
It's actually disturbing on a fundamental level. It's gotten to the point where literally there's part of me, a deep part of me, that just, F it, bring it on. If you want to cancel me, go ahead. I mean, I can't take this living in fear. I was telling all my family, because I said, between, this effing virus has caused tragedy in my family. And then on the other hand, there's hundreds of thousands of people that either had it, didn't know they had it. It's the weirdest stuff that you can't make. And like one of my kids, I'd make jokes about it, and the other part of the family goes, "You can't make jokes about it. So many people have died." I go, "I get it." And I said, I don't want to put it in the same perspective because it's not, and yet it is to me. They were making jokes during World War II. They had to have, eventually you got to move on somehow.
For Tim Allen, humor isn't just about getting laughs. It's a powerful tool for resilience, especially in tough times. He reflects on how, even during the darkest days of World War II, people used humor as a survival tool to lift spirits and keep going. To him, laughter is a release valve that allows us to face harsh realities without being crushed by them. But today, Allen sees this resilience eroding, replaced by a culture of constant outrage where offense takes center stage and laughter gets lost in the noise. He argues that humor, even dark humor, is essential because it gives us perspective, allowing us to confront tough truths with balance rather than despair. For Allen, humor is what helps us process reality, stay grounded, and ultimately move forward, even when times are rough.
Last Man Standing is one of the only shows that touches upon politics in prime time. You throw a lot of jokes at Democrats, more than Republicans. Do you write those jokes yourself?
Some of it's an attitude. I'm more of a anarchist because I'm a stand-up comic. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. And lately, the left wants to tell everybody it's the we all know this. You should. Stop telling me what to do. You go do it. You want to support stuff that the government should stay out of? You go do it. No one's stopping you from paying more taxes. Then that's the attitude I get. You see my acting on the road or in concert. I don't do political stuff. I do anarchist stuff. I like making everybody laugh. Jokes should be, President Trump should laugh at it. So should Hillary. That's the kind of the balance I like. The personal stuff is
Tim Allen sees himself as a bit of a rebel, someone who's never been one to follow orders or conform to the crowd. On his show, he made it a point to poke fun at both sides of the political spectrum, hoping to keep things balanced. But he quickly realized that some jokes drew more backlash than others. For Allen, comedy has always been about connection, a way to bring people together through laughter, to poke fun at our own quirks, and to let our guard down for a moment. He believes that comedy shouldn't be used to divide or to create rules about who can or can't be joked about. To Allen, restricting humor for the sake of sensibilities misses comedy's true purpose. He sees comedy as one of the last frontiers where everyone can come together, laugh at life's absurdities, and recognize the shared humanity in all of us.
What's your message to celebrities like Alec Baldwin and Robert De Niro encouraging obstruction, telling people just say no to everything Donald Trump wants to do?
You know, it sounds simple. It's a free country. These dudes can say whatever they want. I'm a comedian. It's different. I'm a political comedian that says stuff, but it's usually about men and women and good and bad and rich and poor. That's my avenue. And I'm able to do that, and God bless America, can do that. People come to see me. But when you opinions, you know, are like butts. Everybody's got one, you know. And I said, these guys, God bless them for doing that. It's their opinion. It's no more valid or less valid than anybody else.
When it comes to celebrities speaking out, Tim Allen has a straightforward stance. Free speech goes both ways. He respects everyone's right to their opinion, even if it clashes with his own. For Allen, the beauty of free speech is its inclusivity. It's not just for popular viewpoints, but for everyone. He believes in a society where every voice, from Hollywood elites to everyday people, deserves to be heard without fear. In Allen's eyes, a world where only certain voices are welcome isn't truly free. If you've been online at all, you know Tim Allen isn't one to keep his opinions quiet. He's the guy who'll tweet something outrageous, lean back, and watch the woke crowd lose their minds. It's not his first rodeo, and it probably won't be his last. But this latest tweet, it hit a nerve like no other. The response was immediate and explosive. This one tweet had Twitter mobs going berserk. They just couldn't handle that Tim dared to call them out. People scrambled to blast him for crossing the line. But let's face it, Tim Allen isn't about to let the woke dictate what he can and can't say. And honestly, that's why he's been such a thorn in Hollywood's side for so long. Here's the reality. Hollywood hates Tim Allen because he's not afraid to ask the questions they'd rather ignore. While most of Tinseltown is too busy following the trends and playing it safe, Tim's out here calling it like he sees it, even if it ruffles a few feathers. He's the guy who's willing to speak the truth, even when it goes against the grain, and that's what makes him such a target for the woke crowd. They can't handle the fact that Tim isn't afraid to speak up and challenge the narratives they want to keep pushing. And that's exactly why he's been a problem for Hollywood, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
You know, starting in 75, do you still enjoy stand-up, my friend, as much as you did in the early days?
There's moments that it's more. It reminds me of my anarchist background.
Reminds me of my anarchist background. Tim Allen's been the target of Hollywood's cancel culture for years. They've tried everything to silence him. Social media outrage, pulling him off the screen, you name it. But guess what? Tim doesn't play by Hollywood's rules. Let's rewind a bit to when ABC decided to cancel Last Man Standing. In case you didn't know, Last Man Standing was one of ABC's top-rated shows. Yet somehow it was still axed. Funny how that works, right? A top performer gets the boot just because it didn't align with the network's woke agenda. Classic Hollywood move.
Let's talk about Last Man Standing. Congrats on this.
No, thanks very much.
I watched it when it was on ABC.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it wasn't on ABC.
Tell the 300 of the crew and everybody the same thing. We're all going, this is the best show I've ever been on. What? We're off the air. We all thought we were at the top of their game at ABC. Who knows how networks work? I don't know, but it was dry.
Allen's approach to humor, freedom, and authenticity is refreshing in today's polarized landscape. Love him or hate him, he's here to remind us that intent, individuality, and the freedom to laugh at ourselves are what really matter. If you enjoyed hearing Tim's bold take on modern culture, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep the content coming, and we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you agree with Tim's perspective? Have you noticed these shifts in comedy and free speech? Let us know, and be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into today's big conversations. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.